everybody. It is Sunday. Need a delay on that. Sunday. September 29th. And we just weighed anchor about 10 minutes ago. Anchored near the bridge on Edgewater. We're on the South River of the Chesapeake. And looks like we finally got a fair wind. We've been having all these southerly winds lately. Pleasant warm weather, but contrary winds for heading south. So we're finally, we got northerlies now. Forecast to be about 10 to 15 knots most of the day. It'll probably get spotty as we work our way down the bay. Just the local effects of the winding bay and the land and so forth tends to do a lot of funny things to the wind. But it's forecast to be basically north-northeast all day, so that's good. We're bound ultimately for Hampton, Virginia, where we're going to take off to Key West, Florida, about a month from now. Today I hope to make it down to Carthagena Creek, which is just on the mouth, the northern side of the Potomac River. And I want to see if my friend Reg is still there. Reg is a fellow engineless sailor, and he has about a 50-foot wooden schooner. Actually, I think she's a ketch, which he designed and built himself in, I believe, Taiwan. And he sailed the boat back from Taiwan up through the Red Sea. Had lots of adventures. And last I saw him, I think, was 2 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago, can't remember. And he was planning to go to the Azores and back. So I want to stop in and see how his trip to the Azores went. So that's the plan anyway. And just got the dawn of a new day here. It is about 8:30 in the morning right now. So we're on our way south now. It's to Carthagena Creek. It's about 50 miles to the mouth of Potomac, but since you got to wind in and out, it's probably going to end up being about 60 miles of sailing. So with a decent wind, you should be able to do it during daylight hours. But of course, that's always an if. So we'll see how things unfold here. We got a lovely fall day. And it's Sunday, but Sunday morning, so not too many people. Just a few fishing boats out so far, but they'll be out in force in the afternoon. So anyway, we'll talk to y'all later. Take care, everyone. Hi everybody. Well, we were doing great until about just about a half hour ago. It's 6 o'clock Sunday evening, 29th of September, and we're just right off of Cedar Point here, right off of the Patuxent River, which leaves us with only about 15 miles or so to go to Cape Lookout, where we turn into the Potomac. But then it's about another 13 miles from there to Carthagena Creek. So we still got 28 miles or so to go. We had great sailing all day until, as I said, about half hour, 45 minutes ago, when the wind started to get light. And now it's just completely gone down to nothing. We're just drifting. So hopefully we'll get some wind. The weather models are showing a wind shift right now, so that's actually encouraging. So maybe this is why we're getting this lull in the wind. The winds are supposed to shift easterly tonight. east to southeast, around 10 knots or so. So hopefully that'll happen sooner than later. It's still going to be a long night, and the cut into Carthagena Creek is kind of narrow too. If the winds are east, especially east-southeast, it shouldn't be too much trouble. But we'll see. If not, I can always anchor outside and figure out a way to go in the morning. The winds are supposed to shift, I think, southeast, southerly tomorrow, which would be easy to get in there. So that's where it's at. Been visited by the biting flies out here on the water. Of course, when it goes calm, they just descend on you. So I put some deep woods off, mainly on my ankles there. That's helped a bit. That seems to repel them, but some of them are pretty persistent. They'll go right past the deep woods off and still bite you anyway. So hopefully we'll get some wind pretty soon, and hopefully tomorrow we'll be in Carthagena Creek. So we'll talk to y'all again later. Bye-bye. Well, hooray for modern weather forecasting. It's now about 6:30. Recall my last blog post was around 6 in the evening, and we were flat calm. They're forecasting an easterly shift, and now we got, well, kind of east to southeast winds at about 10 knots. Hopefully it'll come a little more east, because we can't quite lay point lookout here. Well, almost. Probably get a little closer to the wind. So anyway, in fact, probably this wind's even a little more than 10 knots, 10 or 12 knots, and it came up in the span of about 10 minutes. So these forecasts are definitely a lot more accurate than back when I was a kid. I remember sailing with my dad, and we'd listen to NOAA weather radio on the Weather Channel on VHF, and it would always be up in, around Connecticut in the summer. It would always just be southwest 10 to 15 knots, and frequently the winds were southwest there in the summer, but I mean, there was basically just zero resolution to it. It could be no wind, it could be 5 knots, it could be 20 to 25, especially as you got out toward Block Island. And, well, weather forecasting has definitely improved, that's for sure. So I made it to Carthagena Creek okay, albeit at 2 in the morning. The next day I launched the dinghy and went over to see if I could find Reg. Here's his boat, Rainbow, and you can see she's quite a traditional craft. As you can see, the steering wheel is an old-fashioned type wheel which is connected to a drum which has a rope wrapped around it. And that rope goes to sets of blocks and tackles which move a big tiller which is attached to the rudder, just like on the old sailing ships. So as you can see, she's just pure sailing beauty. And just off the bow there, you see that aluminum skiff with the Mercury outboard. He uses that as a push boat to get her around in close quarters. And also, of course, serves as his dinghy. But no sign of Reg, so I decided I'd take the oar tour of Carthagena Creek. Never actually been very far up the creek, so of course I can't help myself here. I have to take depth soundings. Yeah, about 3 feet. By the first few rays of morning sun and the first few barely perceptible whiffs of northeasterly wind, I weigh anchor and begin winding my way back out of Carthagena Creek. No sign of life this morning. It's all quiet. Just me and the birds. But I can see there's more breeze once we get outside past the shelter of the trees. So there's the last red day beacon that marks the channel into Carthagena Creek. And then we'll be out in the St. Mary's River, which empties into the Potomac River. And we got to work our way back out the Potomac and around Smith Point before we can head due south down toward Deltaville. What happened to our sunshine here? It went away, and the breeze has lightened up a bit, so I'm going to set the Yankee to give her a little more drive. As you can see, we're also trying to punch through a swell here, so she needs some forward driving power. Ahoy everybody! It's still Thursday, October 3rd, and we're just coming up on Windmill Point right now. As I had feared, we ended up spending about 3 hours trying to get out past Smith Point, the entrance of the Potomac. The winds went light, and then we got into some nasty slop, which was just head on. And this boat just gets hobby horsing with her bluff bow and all. She just cannot punch through a swell, especially when the winds went light. They were down to about 5 knots or so. And so we were just barely moving there. And the winds came kind of more east, northeast. So basically we had to beat all the way around Smith Point. That took about 3 hours. So as it stands now though, we've got about 7-8 miles to go to Fishing Bay. But that sun is less than 30 degrees above the sky, so that's approximately 2 hours, less than 2 hours of sunlight left. So it'll be a question whether we're going to make it in before dark. I'm kind of getting tired of arriving in harbors at night. But such is life when you depend on the wind. And we've also been fighting a north-setting current, so got a lot of things running against us today, but nonetheless all the clouds went away. It's a nice beautiful day. They're still forecasting strong winds tomorrow, so I'm glad I went today. It's still saying right out here sustained 22 knots, 23 knots, 24 knots, so I'm guessing there's going to be some gusts to 30 knots tomorrow. I think I'm just going to hang on my hook and let that thing blow over. So, all is well, and spend a little time in Fishing Bay, and then next northerly wind shift, we'll ride down to Hampton, and that'll be our final destination for preparation provision and our takeoff point for Key West, Florida. We'll take off sometime around November 1st, and there's a few details of that passage which I think I pretty much have worked out. I'll go over that in the next video. So anyway, well, it sure is beautiful sailing out here. There's basically nobody out here either. I think I see another sail back there, but it's just nice, pleasant sailing out here. So let's just enjoy the sailing for a little while. And I'll just let the camera run for a little bit, and we'll see y'all next time. Take care everyone. Bye bye.